So today I'm going to talk about that dialogue that goes on inside of our heads. Have you ever noticed that dialogue that goes on inside of your head? Well, it never seems to stop. It just seems to keep going on and on. So what is causing that voice in your head? Have you ever thought about it? Is anything that the voice inside your head says even true? Are you hearing the voice inside your head right now, responding to my question? And is it saying, I don't have a voice inside my head? That's the voice that we're talking about. It's important to notice and observe this voice to connect with it. We have internal conversations all the time. This is not the voice that's rehearsing a speech or helping you to memorize facts. This voice speaks from both sides of the conversation, and you may never have noticed that it actually does take both sides. It doesn't seem to care what side it takes. It just wants to talk. And maybe you don't even realize you have a voice inside your head speaking. You know, when you're really tired and you're on your way to sleep, and all of a sudden you remember some things that you forgot to do that day, and you're thinking, oh, I should have done this, and I should have done that. What's wrong with me? I can't remember. I'm tired. And then you keep talking to yourself. That's the voice I'm talking about. Spending time observing this voice is just fascinating. And if you keep it from that perspective of curiosity and fascination, it makes it all easier. The first thing you'll notice is that when left to its own, it just keeps talking. So imagine if you saw someone nearby who was having a conversation like you have in your head. The person talks and talks and then answers his own questions. He's the one who's speaking, and he's the one who's listening, and he obviously knows what to be and what to say before he says it. So why is he even talking? When the voice argues with itself, who is arguing with it? And who could possibly win? It gets very confusing. Here's an example. Let's imagine that you're trying to make a decision about moving to a new place, a new city perhaps, and you're hearing the voice say, I think I should move to New York, but no, I'm not ready to move to New York. There's too many things back here in LA. But everyone says I have more opportunities in New York. I just don't know. What if I stay in LA? Maybe there's more work for me here. But there's so much opportunity for work in New York too. Well, this is crazy making. If you observe the voice carefully, you'll notice that it will change sides in a moment. If that's helpful, the voice just keeps adjusting and keeps on going. If you pay attention to the mental patterns will become obvious to you. It's so fascinating when you notice that your mind is constantly talking. And who is it talking to? And how do you stop it? How do you free yourself from this incessant chatter? Well, there are many different ways to stop the voice. One way is to look at it objectively, just reviewing the voice as a vocalizing mechanism that's capable of making it appear like someone is in there talking to you. So just being objective. Don't think about it, just notice it. And no matter what the voice is saying, it's all the same. It doesn't matter if it's nice things or mean things. It's still just a voice talking inside your head. One of the most important ways to stop it is to stop differentiating what it's saying. Stop feeling that one thing it says is you and the other thing it says is not you. If you're hearing the talk, it's obviously not you. You are the one who hears the voice. And you are the one who notices that it's talking. So, do you hear that voice when it talks? So make it say hello right now. Say it over again. Of course you can. There's a voice talking, and there is you who notices the voice talking. Interesting thing to notice that you observe the voice talking, and you are listening. So obviously the voice is not you. For example, if you were to look at 3 or 4 objects, let's see what I have around here, a lamp, a board, a computer screen, or a tree outside, and then you were asked, which of these objects is you? Well, you know that you're none of them. You were the one who is looking at what is in front of you. And it doesn't matter what you put in front of you. It's always going to be you looking at it. You are the subject perceiving the object. This is true of hearing the voice inside. It doesn't make any difference what it's saying. You are the one who is aware of it. You may like part of what it says and dislike part of what it says, but it's still not you, no matter how you feel about what the voice is saying. What is important here is to know that you are not the voice. You are the one who hears it. None of the voices that you hear from the mind are you. And as you really observe the mind, you'll notice that most of what the voice says is meaningless. Most of your life will still happen because of forces outside of your control, regardless of what your mind says about them. You can plan all you want, but some things are going to happen whether you think about them or not. The moon will rise, the moon will set. The day will turn into night, and we have no control over any of it. The oceans will flow, high tide and low tide, and we don't have anything to do with it. Our thoughts have little impact on the world as we know it. And if you really observe your thoughts, many of them are not relevant to what's happening in your life. They're fears that you're projecting. And they have no effect on anyone but you. How's that? Our thoughts have no effect on anyone but us, usually. They are simply making you feel better or worse about yourself. So a fun game to play is to imagine when you hear the voice in your head that there's a person outside of you speaking to you. And this person is taking both sides of the conversation and continuing to speak all day long. Now, if this was really happening to you, you would probably stop listening to this person. And you would probably ask them to leave or take off and leave yourself. But we don't do this with the voice inside of our head. So what makes this voice speak in the first place? Well, if you watch objectively, you'll see that when you have a buildup of fearful, nervous, or desired-based energies, the voice becomes extremely active. You can notice this easily when you're angry with someone and you feel like getting mad at them. Just start to notice what happens inside before you even see that person. See that it does this even when you're not particularly bothered by anyone or anything. It can happen when you're really excited about some event, and then your mind goes, oh, this is going to be so great. And then the thoughts of how it could become bad and how it won't work come in, right? And you're not even trying to make that happen. It just seems like it's happening all on our own. It seems like this voice is narrating the world around you. So do you really need this? Are we already observing this in our life around us? The best example that I know is playing a sport like tennis, for an example. When you begin, it seems like every time you hit the ball incorrectly or correctly, you're talking in your head. For example, if you hit the ball back to your opponent, you might think to yourself, I could have hit that ball with more spin and it would have been a stronger shot. And then you either visualize it the other way or you do the exact opposite. What is more powerful than talking to yourself is feeling what you've done. Feeling when it feels good. Get a feeling of what makes it feel good. How did your arm go back? How did you finish the stroke? So that you complete the stroke and base it on feeling instead of thinking. And then there's no judgment, good or bad. There's only the observation of how you feel when you hit the ball with the racket and where it is placed on the other side of the court. So it's really simple. When we start to feel when something good is happening to us and stay with the feeling instead of analyzing it, instead of using our brain, staying with the feeling of what it is when we get a good job, instead of going back and forth with our mind to make it better or make it worse. If you observe the voice carefully, you'll notice that it will change sides in a moment, if that's helpful. The voice just keeps adjusting and keeps on going. And if you pay attention to this, the mental patterns will become obvious to you. It's so fascinating when you notice that your mind is constantly talking. Is that normal? Is that natural? No, it's not. It's based on fear. So how do you stop it? How do you free yourself from this incessant chatter? Well, there are many ways to do this. One way is to look at it objectively, just reviewing the voice as a vocalizing mechanism that's capable of making it appear like someone is in there talking to you. Don't think about it, just notice it. And no matter what the voice is saying, it's all the same. It doesn't matter if it's nice things or mean things. It's just still a voice talking inside your head. One of the most important ways to stop it is to stop differentiating what it's saying. Stop feeling that one thing it says is you and the other thing it says is not you. If you're hearing you talk, it's obviously not you. You are the one who hears the voice. You are the one who notices that it's talking. So, do you hear that voice when it talks? Make it say hello right now. Make it say hello right now. What would happen if we just consciously observe the world instead of judging it and needing to control it inside of us? We are so used to our mind helping us. This voice helps us process our current experiences so that they fit into a way that we can deal with it. This makes us feel like we have control of something. Otherwise, we feel too uncomfortable. Sometimes reality is just too much for us, so we temper it with the mind. We use this as a form of protection or defense, and we think it makes us feel more secure. Would you rather have your mind buffer your life, or would you rather live your life? Deep question. Our life will unfold whether we have judgment or comments about it. The voice in our head is just trying to hold it all together. Since we feel like we need protection from life, we allow the voice inside our head to continue. As we become observers of the voice, we can stop it. As we notice that the voice is not us, we can stop it. You are not the voice. You are the consciousness listening to the voice. One of the ways to stop the voice is just to speak. And one of the sentences you could use is, I am filled with peace and harmony, peace and harmony, peace and harmony. You are the one inside noticing the voice is speaking. Or you are creating the words. As you come to know that you are the one listening to the voice, you will open amazing possibilities for yourself.